right. Hey, thanks again for using your time and your energy to spend the moment with me. The next few minutes. I appreciate it greatly. And I wanted to discuss and bring awareness to awareness and essentially talk about awareness and what I believe it to be, because what it is not is such a very broad brushstroke. When you look at the definition of awareness, whether you Google or use an actual dictionary, the definition is perception of a situation, which is certainly true. However, it's a very broad brushstroke, and it doesn't define the nuances of awareness, nor should it. It's a definition, right? You're not going to read the dictionary for paragraphs of explanation of words. So that's just kind of what I wanted to get into, because that definition, perception of the situation, can mean a world of different things to different people. And a lot of times it gets used generically in words that we use or phrases that we use, something like mind your business or pay attention, which is something you likely heard as a kid, or you say it a lot as an adult having kids. So it's pretty common. Or something like watch your mouth or watch what you're doing, things like that. Those are very generic things, right? And we're so used to hearing them that we don't think about the lessons that we could learn from them. Another one that is common in my opinion is watching your breath, and essentially what that would mean is to pay attention to it. And to pay attention means to focus on something and control it and learn from it. And when you're focusing on something and trying to learn something from it, you are basically practicing a skill. And so awareness is essentially a skill that needs to be practiced, because it's not something, and it can be, but it's not something that just happens when you need it to happen. It's something that we have to be consciously aware of most of the time. I mean, you could use awareness in any situation throughout any day, in any moment, even in this moment right now. You might need to use a little more awareness to take my words and learn something from them, instead of just having this playing in your head while you're folding laundry or something. Right? You're kind of putting your awareness in two different places, which one or both things don't get the right amount of attention and awareness. But anyway, saying that awareness is a skill, for example, it might be something like in a situation, a conversation or a heated argument or something like that, something that you get your emotions wrapped up in, and being able to have the awareness that you have control over those emotions in order to put those on hold so you can take a step back and learn the lesson at hand, and also to be able to understand that we have the choice in the matters of our emotions. And many people walk around not even aware of their own selves, and it becomes a little bit more difficult when you feel like maybe you have control over your awareness about yourself, but it becomes a little more difficult when you have to think and be aware of other people's tendencies or their lack of awareness of themselves, right? So now you're almost catering in certain occasions, and you certainly don't want to do this all the time because it's a huge energy suck, but sometimes you cater to other people knowing that they're not aware of themselves in certain capacities, or aware of themselves in certain situations, right? Like they might not be aware, as an example, they might not be aware of they drink too much when they're in certain situations. And that might be something that you have to be aware of in order to maybe keep an eye on them or something, right? That's just an example, very brief example. But in that example, you could see how that would be a very large energy consumption for you if you had to consistently do that for someone. I've definitely been there before. So that being said, awareness can be controlled, right? Like I said, it's not just a reaction that just happens during stress or something like that, right? If you're not working on that skill and you're just kind of letting it happen unconsciously, you eventually just act the same way to all your situations. You look at awareness as a blanket statement, kind of like the definition from the dictionary, right? And when you do that, so much information gets lost. You know, if you're not being mindful of the skill you're trying to work on. And again, going back to the breathwork example, if you're not paying attention, if you're not focusing on your breath, then the information that you could be gathering from your breathing, it gets lost. And it's still there. You just have to be able to slow down enough and give yourself the time and the patience to figure it out. So same thing with awareness in anything. Then you can get into things like situational awareness, which is more of an external thing, right? When I say situational awareness, I don't just mean, hey, knowing where your exits are, or which chair you're going to sit in, or where your boyfriend or girlfriend likes to sit when they go places or something like that, right? It's a lot more than finding places to park, it's things like body language, understanding the body language of the people you're with, and also the people that are in your surroundings with you, the people that you share your surroundings with. Physical cues, right? People's physical tendencies that they do, which aren't always noticeable unless you really know someone. So again, these are just examples, right? So just to bring attention to the fact that when we use a blanket statement like awareness or situational awareness or something like that, it's not just that. Give yourself a few minutes to think about what else that awareness can entail, right? So I hope that makes sense. Part of me feels like I was just rambling a little bit for means of getting some information out of my brain. However, I think that that covers a little bit about how I wanted to address it, just to let you know that it's something that you have to work on. Some of this stuff will come naturally, right? I think about, my martial art practice, and you have to have a lot of awareness when you're working on your techniques, right? Because going back to the quote that I shared on my previous episode that Bruce Lee talked about, and like a punch not being just a punch, that's his way of saying, hey, I'm having the awareness to understand that there's numerous different techniques that I need to be working on in order to throw an effective punch, an effective strike for whatever situation he needs to use that strike in. And so obviously he needs to, I'm saying he as in Bruce, he needs, or us as well, or you or me, he needs to take the time to cultivate the skill of awareness to work on these techniques. So just being mindful, paying attention and giving yourself some grace as well, because it's not easy to be aware all the time. It will get easier. But however, different situations are always going to come up, so you can't use your same definition of awareness in martial arts as you can for your relationship with a loved one. But I'm sure there's similar lessons. If we were to keep talking, we could probably find something. But anyway, that's kind of all I wanted to say on it. I hope that helps give you a little more depth to the definition of awareness and kind of how I have seen it over my time. And as always, if you got any questions or comments, you can always comment on the video that's on YouTube. I guess you can't really make comments on the Spotify link, but that's okay. There'll also be, you can also just send me a message on Instagram or something. But anyway, again, I appreciate you taking the time to use your energy to help me create this moment with you, and I hope you found some benefit to what I share. And I hope you have a beautiful day.